Bloomfield Meadow was buzzing with excitement and anticipation. It was the day of the annual Bloomfield Bonanza, the most awaited event of the year. Everyone was excited, especially Dan, Victor, and Ralph, who had been talking about it for weeks. Dan, the brainy hippo, adjusted his glasses, ready to take on any challenge. Victor, the goofy calf, mooed with anticipation, his eyes wide with excitement. Ralph, the piglet, dreamt of cookies, his favorite treat, and couldn't wait to get started. The Bonanza always had the best games, from sack races to pie-eating contests. This year, the main event was a thrilling scavenger hunt that promised adventure and fun. The grand prize? A whole year's supply of delicious Meadow muffins, a treat everyone coveted. Dan carefully unfolded the map. It was old and a bit crumbly, adding to the mystery.
Uh-oh, this doesn't look good.
A big chunk of the map, the part showing the location of the treasure, was missing. The friends were momentarily disheartened.
Don't worry, Dan, we'll find it. We always do.
Ralph, ever the optimist, was too busy drooling over the image of the Meadow muffins on the corner of the map to worry.
Let's go already. The adventure awaits.
The first few clues were easy peasy. They found a bluebell hidden in a boot, easy for Victor, who had a knack for sniffing out flowers. His nose was like a radar, always on point. Then they solved a riddle on a tag tied to Bessie's tail. The riddle was tricky, but teamwork made it easier. Bessie was not happy, but it led them to their next clue. She mooed loudly, clearly annoyed by the disturbance. But as they followed the map deeper into the meadow, things got trickier. The path was not as clear as before. The missing piece was becoming a big problem. Without it, they were essentially wandering in circles.
Are we lost? This question hung in the air, making everyone uneasy.
Victor mumbled, chewing on a patch of clover. He was trying to stay calm, but the tension was palpable.
Lost? Nonsense, Dan exclaimed, trying to lift everyone's spirits.
Dan tried to sound confident, but deep down he was starting to worry. The map was their only guide, but he was starting to worry. The uncertainty was getting to him. They were now close to the Whispering Woods, a place rumored to be crawling with creepy crawlies. The stories about this place were enough to give anyone the chills. Ralph, meanwhile, was convinced this was all a waste of good snack time. He grumbled about his empty stomach, clearly unimpressed with the adventure. The Whispering Woods was dark and spooky. The wind howled through the trees, sounding like ghostly whispers. Victor was convinced he saw a spider wink at him. It was probably just a leaf, but still. Suddenly, they heard a cackle. A shadowy figure darted behind a tree.
Who's there?
Dan called out, his voice trembling. A scrawny hyena emerged, grinning slyly. It was Grius, notorious for his sneaky tricks and love for meadow muffins.
Well, well, what do we have here?
Grius chuckled, eyeing their map.
Lost little ones, are we?
Grius snatched the map with a swift movement, his eyes gleaming with triumph. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Looking for this? He sneered, holding the map high above his head.
He taunted, waving it in the air, making sure everyone could see his prize. He had obviously been following them, hoping to snag the treasure for himself. His plan was cunning, but Dan was not one to be easily outwitted. Dan knew they had to act fast. Time was of the essence, and every second counted. He remembered something his grandpa used to say.
Every villain has a weakness. You just have to find it and use it to your advantage.
He just had to figure out Grius's. What could it be? Dan pondered, his mind racing through possibilities.
You won't get away with this, Grius! Dan shouted, his voice filled with determination.
Yelled Victor, puffing out his chest. Grius just laughed, clearly underestimating them. That's when Dan noticed it, a small but crucial detail, a trail of crumbs leading away from Grius. It was a clue, a sign that could turn the tide. Aha, he knew just what to do. This was their chance to outsmart Grius.
Victor, create a distraction, Dan instructed, his voice steady and commanding.
Victor, though clueless most of the time, was a pro at distractions. He knew exactly what to do. He started mooing like a distressed cow, complete with dramatic snorts, causing Grius to drop the map in surprise. The plan was working. While Grius was busy dealing with Victor's performance, Dan pointed to the trail of crumbs.
Ralph, you know what to do.
Ralph, initially hesitant to leave his snack-finding mission, suddenly understood. He followed the crumbs like a furry, snorting detective, leading them straight to a hidden hollow in a tree. And there it was, a box overflowing with meadow muffins. Grius, realizing he'd been outsmarted, vanished into the woods, grumbling about pesky kids and their clever tricks. News of their adventure spread through Bloomfield Meadow faster than you can say Meadow muffin. Everyone cheered for the three friends, praising their bravery and teamwork. Victor blushed, enjoying the attention. Ralph, covered in crumbs, was already munching on his reward. Dan smiled, proud of his friends. They had faced their fears and outsmarted a villain, all while working together. He realized that even though they were different, their differences made them stronger as a team. As the sun set on Bloomfield Meadow, everyone knew that no matter what trouble came their way, they could face it together. After all, in Bloomfield Meadow, trouble's always crunchy, but friendship's sweeter.